Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are going to go ahead and get right into it, and I'm going to be sharing with you my best tips on how to have a great personal Bible study. So basically, this is a continuation of a series within a series. So I already have a video that I posted up last week. So if you've missed it, don't worry. I'm going to link it down in the description box below for you. So today's video is going to be just as quick as last week's. I'm only going to be sharing with you 4 tips today. So let's go ahead and get into tip number 1. Okay, so tip number 1 is always going to be to pray first, and I even mentioned that in my last video. Praying just helps you to get yourself centered, to get your mind focused on what it is that you're going to be doing. So typically for myself, what I always pray for is to just remove distractions from whatever it is that I'm doing, which is Bible study, or just plain studying in general, if you're even studying for a class. I just pray that distractions would be removed or that they would be minimized. Sometimes you can't help it if distractions happen, and so I just also pray that I would be focused on what it is that I'm doing, focused on my studies at that point. And then I also pray that I would be able to understand what it is that I'm studying, and that I would find something that I'd be able to apply to my life for that particular study that I'm doing. Tip number 2 would be all about location. Finding a good location, some place that you know that you would get the best and most studying done. So for me, it kind of varies, and that might happen for you too. So sometimes when I'm at home, I like to just hang out on the carpet, spread everything out, because for me, it's not that I'm just studying. I usually do a lot of lesson prep for my Bible study group for my kids. And so I like to spread out all of my things, my papers, my Bibles, any type of referencing books, or another Bible translation. I like to be able to spread out and just kind of be relaxed and at home. And then sometimes I like to get away from home because home can be a distraction. So I'll probably pick like a coffee shop, because I like to be kind of out and about in the hustle and bustle of things. And sometimes if I need like serious peace and quiet, I will go to the library. So just figure out what works for you. Or sometimes, like for me, it just varies on my mood. Sometimes I want to be at home and just spread out and be comfortable in my pajamas. Sometimes I kind of want to be in the hustle and bustle of things. I'll go to like a Starbucks or like a Dunkin' Donuts. And sometimes I just need pure quiet and I'll just hit up the library. So figure out what works for you. Figure out a great location for you to be able to study, and figure out if that's the best place for you to flourish and really get some studying done. So my third tip, I don't know about you, but I typically don't really like to study. Like for me, it's really a discipline type of thing that I've had to do. And so what I typically do is to just time myself. So I will set a timer on my phone for about 10 or maybe 15 or 20 minutes, depending on where I'm at with the study or depending on how long I've been studying. So if it's like a really intense study, like I know one year we studied Isaiah, and that was a very like heavy kind of study. A lot of things we were reading about in Isaiah, it was happening in the world. So it just almost kind of like made me feel a little depressed. And so for me, like I'm not gonna sit and study for 20-30 minutes. I'm probably gonna do smaller bits of time. For now, the study that I'm on, which is Romans, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm finding that I will go past my timer. So I extend my time of studying. So I may go 30 or 45 minutes long. So just time yourself, because sometimes if you're going to sit there and say, I'm going to study for an hour, I'm going to study for 2 hours, it can seem a little bit rigorous. It can seem a little bit much. So just start with small little increments of time, 10, 15 or 20 minutes, and then let that be that. Take some time off and then come back and time yourself again on what you're studying. So my last tip for you kind of coincides with the previous tip. So tip number 4 would be to take breaks. So one of the things that I learned when I used to take vocal lessons is that my teacher would purposely, I didn't realize it until she told me, but when I would be practicing my vocal exercises, sometimes she would intentionally stop in the middle of the song and we would talk about something, and it allows yourself time to have your brain process that information. So do the same thing with studying. I've noticed that that helps me too. Just take some time to take a break. So if you're going to time yourself, like if you're going to commit, let's say, 2 hours or something like that, or an hour's worth of time to actually sit and study, then time your breaks or give yourself a break and allow your brain time to process what you've just learned so that you're not overloading yourself, and just focus on something completely different. Grab a snack or even go for a quick walk. It all depends on how you choose to map that out for yourself. But just take the time to take a break. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. You don't want to overload yourself. And you also want to give your brain time to process what it is that you are studying. And it also helps you to better understand what you're studying. Okay, you guys, so that is it for this week. Those are my tips for you. Again, like I told you, this is going to be a super short video. We're going to continue on with more tips next week. So just try those things out, and I would love to know how they're working out for you. And if you could, let me know in the comments below if you've tried those particular tips before, or if you have some other tips that you would like to share with someone else. You never know how you could help someone else just by sharing a quick tip. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you would hit that thumbs up button. And if you find that this is kind of helpful for you, or you feel like it'd be helpful for someone else, I would appreciate it if you would share this video with someone else. And then of course, if you are new here, I would appreciate it and love it if you would subscribe to my channel. Again, that is it for this week's video, and I will catch you guys next week with a new video on my best tips for how to have a great study. All right, you guys, until then, bye.